Hello, Unicorn Militia, and welcome to a new type of show where we are going to be talking about controversial topics. Something brand new for my channel that I'm going to be trying, so comment, let me know what you guys think. This week I have Airsoftology Jonathan as a guest, and Jet DesertFox, whom most of you probably know because you probably found my channel from him, let's be honest. So, I posted a question a couple weeks ago on my Facebook page asking, are sponsored players ruining Airsoft? I got a lot of good comments. I was actually really impressed with all of the comments that you guys left because you were able to present your comments in intelligent ways without posting memes and a lot of dumb stuff. So yay, good job. So I just want to hear, since everyone here is basically a sponsored player, I want to hear what you guys think of it, and I also want to answer the question, first of all, what do you think sponsorship entails? So what makes a sponsored player to you? Anybody want to go first?
You want to Rochambeau for it?
Okay.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's supposed to be on 3. 1, 2, 3,
okay.
shoot. Ready?
Okay.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, shoot. Ah, I go first. So what's a sponsored player? I think anyone that has, let's raw definition, compensation in place of, a return on their investment. So big fancy words means somebody gives you something and you're doing something in return for them. So in Airsoft it'd be maybe you have a BB sponsor, they're giving you BBs, consumables, and in turn they want to see you repping that. So Instagram photos, YouTube, large billboards down the interstate, something like that. So I think that could be anything from just like a local field giving you a discount to giving you product all the way up to actual cash money payout, which is a very big rarity in this industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Pretty much hit the nail on the head. Just to expand on that more, anyone who, there's a lot of sponsored players out there nowadays. Everyone seems to be trying to get stuff for free. Now, don't get that mixed up with like, oh, my friend got hooked up from someone, they gave him a free bottle of BBs. That doesn't mean like, oh, now you're totally sponsored by company XYZ that
right.
gave you those bottles of BBs to maybe just try out or something. That's not being sponsored, or getting a 10% discount from evike.com. Like,
yeah.
That's not being sponsored either.
I've seen a few cases of that where someone gets one thing for free and then they're like, oh, I'm a sponsored player now, and then they tell everyone that they're a sponsored player, and it's like,
yeah. Getting the stuff for free or getting compensation on a regular basis from the same company, that would be, to me, sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
One of the comments was Tyler Klein. He made a really good comment saying, sponsored is when an individual, group, or entity contribute to a person or team in return for them advertising / using their products or services.
Man, somebody went to like Merriam-Webster for that.
I know.
One.
I thought
Seriously.
that that was a really intelligent answer, and I think that sums it up pretty well. So let's move on to our sponsored players ruining Airsoft. I see there's always a lot of hate when it comes to sponsored players. As everyone knows, we've seen it. So I want to see, and I got a lot of great comments on this, so you get a lot of hate. Are you ruining Airsoft, Jet? Are you ruining it?
I'm ruining it for everybody. I heard it here first.
Hashtag blame Jet.
Yeah.
Blame Jet.
So the way certain airsofters are ruining the whole sponsored player image or things is by them just flaunting it and embellishing that. That is the number one thing that I personally hate about sponsored players is just because you're getting this stuff compensated or at a great deal or whatever doesn't mean you need to shove it in everyone's face. Like, I'll name drop. You do this. You have twice that we know of have talked about a rail system or a product that only you exclusively have at that moment, and then you flaunted it in front of everyone. No offense, no hate toward. I'm just using him as an example.
Ouch.
Oh, we've all seen people do it though. Like, they get something exclusively and they're like, I've got this, you can't have it. I've seen other female players do this. where they're like, oh, I just got this brand new thing. I'm sponsored by this team. You can't be meh. And that makes it sound like little entitled babies to me anyway. And that's definitely not the image that we want to promote.
Right. It's you as a sponsored player should be doing a service to either the company or to the rest of your fellow airsofters. If you're doing it for the company, that's fine. Promote the product, show it in a good light. If you're doing it for your fellow airsofters, give us objective information about why this product is good or why this product is bad. Don't just say key phrases like, oh, it's really cool, or look at this new color. Like, that doesn't do anything for us. Tell us why we should be buying this product or why we should not be buying this product.
I think it's the Kim Kardashian effect, and this is what I call it, right? So the Kardashians are famous for being famous. They do nothing. They really provide no value aside from we're famous because we've made ourselves famous. And I think that comes down to sponsored players too. There's a lot of players out there, not a lot, but there's a section of players that want to be sponsored or famous for the sake of just saying, I'm sponsored, and not provide value in return. I think the ones that care about it is there's a value in return. Okay, I'm going to create a video that's entertaining. I'm going to be good on Instagram and post a lot of pictures and provide value that way, or to the, like I said, back to Jet saying, providing value. But giving back is what it comes down to. It's like, if I was going to be sponsored, I'd want to do my best to do really cool stuff so the people who are watching and seeing what I'm putting out like that, and they're enjoying it from an entertainment standpoint or informational like reviews, versus, hey, look at me, here's a ton of selfies of me driving down the road in my car. Oh, look at me, I'm sponsored. Oh, hey, look at me, I'm going to stand in front of them and do like the bathroom selfie, wearing a tank top and a low-cut outfit, So that's kind of the difference, right?
Yeah, and you actually highlighted it really. I'm thinking of too many examples.
I know. Did I just paint a great picture?
Yeah, you did. And you talked about this in your Mondays video a couple weeks ago, and I'll put a link to that in here. And it was basically what you just said. Like, the people that are doing it, I think this is exactly what you said, and I think this sums it up really well for me too. The people that are doing it, trying to be sponsored to be famous, that ruins it. If you are trying to be sponsored or if you are sponsored because you're trying to promote Airsoft or you're trying to promote something in the community, then that obviously isn't going to ruin Airsoft. It's going to build it up. So also, I just want to put this out there. If you are famous in Airsoft, you are not famous. Nothing about Airsoft. There's no comparison. We're not famous. No one's famous. No one's gonna see us in People magazine. Those people are famous. Airsofters are not famous. So please don't ever use that word.
It's like being picked first for like the kickball team. It doesn't like fluff your resume at all. Trust me.
Yeah, being picked first for the kickball team.
2002 to 2003. Always picked first for kickball.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm gonna have to take that off my resume.
That actually would probably rank better than Airsoft famous. So.
Yeah, for sure.
At least they wouldn't have to ask you what kickball is.
Right.
That's so true. That's true. There's another comment that was on here that I thought was enlightening, and I think it's something that we all need to talk about. Evan Dickerson said, "Are sponsored players ruining Airsoft? It depends. I'm aware of some that will sell you crappy quality products just because your sponsor says so. I.e., anyone who says, this company here, competition grade guns are good." So, let me just go ahead and say, if you were to come out and be like, Valken battle machines are the best gun ever. You should buy those over a VFC Scar. I get it. Yeah. So, but on the other hand, if you are a sponsored player, you do need to promote entry-level products. So
do it in a tactful way. Don't just throw out your sensational headline.
Yeah.
Yep. Start fire it up. Say, hey, look, if you're an experienced player, this probably isn't going to be for you. But if you're a new player, let me give you something in your perspective. And I think that's really what it comes down to. The point of the competition line, you can't compare a battle machine with a VFC gun. So you have to say, okay, well, let's look at the battle machine, and we'll go, okay, well, look at that, and then the Walmart guns. That'd probably be a pretty good explanation.
Yeah, totally.
Explanation. Wow, can't even talk today. Of those two, like where they are.
Yeah.
And then like the mid-grade stuff, like the competition stuff, like Elite Four stuff, and some of the Echo One things and all that. Then they would kind of be in that mid band, and then you have some premium stuff like the Echo One Platinum. That's where you can get into that higher band.
Yeah, that's like telling someone. It's like comparing a Pinto to a Ferrari. Like, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
William Henderson said, being sponsored means free stuff to do what sponsors say, good or bad, truth or lie. You agree with that?
Wait, what?
What he's saying is, if you're given something, you're pretty much being compensated for giving a positive review.
And you have to say that it's good, even if it's a bad product.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to say. I mean, if it's bad, it's gonna be bad. I mean, I'll admit there's one video that I did that I felt really crummy about doing, and it's because I got the gun and I was like, well, I don't want to give it a bad review, even though the gun is horrible. I still kind of in a very subtle way, I underline that it wasn't the greatest gun to get, but for me personally, I'm never doing that again. If you get a product and it outright just sucks, just either come out and say it sucks, or just don't cover it at all. Lately, I've been doing the latter, which is just don't cover it at all.
That's the route that I've taken, is just saying, like, I've gotten a gun before and it's failed, and I've just been like, you know what, I don't want to
give this gun any publicity.
Yeah, you don't want to give it any publicity, and then also, a lot of times we get first generation guns, and those always have a lot of issues, and part of what we do is T&E. And so that's to give feedback. So if a gun's not doing well, then we're going to give feedback to whoever gave us the gun or the product, let them know this is where it failed, I'm not going to cover it for these reasons. And if that company is like, well, screw you, we'll give it to someone else, we're not even going to fix these issues, then we'd probably come out and say something about it. But since Airsoft's so small, from what I've seen, anytime we've told a distributor about issues, they've been like, oh no, we didn't know that, let's fix it. So that's why we don't necessarily always tell you when something's failing, because we want to give the distributor a chance to fix it before it gets to everyone.
Right, because YouTube's permanent, and T&E, by the way, is test and evaluate, so that basically it's testing. So a lot of times, like to your point, you're getting a pre-production sample or the first gen, like what you said. Mm-hmm. And there's a perfect example. There's a company, I won't mention who it is, sent me a gun to review. This was about a year-ish ago, year and a half ago. I got it. Massive problem with the design of the hop-up. Like, it stripped out, big problem, like, broke very quickly. Rather than produce the video at that time, I worked with the company, got that issue totally resolved. They fixed the ones that were in-house. They changed the material on that piece. It was like too soft metal. And their second gen came out, had all the issues resolved, so they did a running change on the first and then fixed the second edition. And then when it was fixed and it hit the market with the fixed product, I then shot and released the video. So it's not, I think that's the way to work, to your point, work with the companies, because if we do that, or anybody who does that, you end up, everybody wins. Yeah. Other than just a crummy product that gets to the market, and I've said, hey, this is great, guys, you should go buy it. And then you're all mad at me, or you're mad at Jet or Leah, because we told you it was awesome, and they've all exploded and made your parents divorce and all horrible things.
Wow, that was a terrible purchase.
That was a real bad purchase, right? This gun made my parents divorce. I'm never buying it again.
That is terrible. Okay, and lastly, I want to close on this because I think this is a really good point. Douglas Dambick says, what ruins something is what a person does, as in their attitude and behavior. As in if they're being a tone-deaf blank biscuit, and that is in some way reflecting upon other players, then yes. If they're perfectly chill people with good sportsmanship and are genuinely nice, then no. A poor person can be a bigger jerk than a rich person. Money has nothing to do with it. It's the person.
What's a blank biscuit?
Never
mind.
Biscuit.
Oh!
I can't say that. I have to bleep it. The thing that ruins Airsoft and the thing that ruins any hobby is terrible people. Like, if you're going to be a crappy person, you're going to have a bad attitude, and you're going to tear other people down, especially if you're tearing people down either to their face or on the internet. That's what ruins Airsoft to me, because
That ruins
you're
everything.
making basically everyone then just wants to quit and no longer play anymore. And there's very few people to me that can handle so much abuse on a daily basis, like what we get or what anybody gets that may get randomly attacked. I've seen random people just get attacked for no reason and torn down all the time. And personally, I think that's what ruins Airsoft, and that is eventually what could make the sport die if you guys don't start being better people.
I saw a perfect one example of this. Post on Facebook. It was an Instagram post and it was reposted to Facebook of a Airsoft celebrity. Obviously nobody in this room, because it'd be really awkward if I was talking bad about you guys.
It's also a stupid term.
And this guy was commenting how he just went to his local field and ruined a birthday party full of 12-year-olds. Like, I quote, like this is, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but this is pretty much it. I just totally went in and wrecked an entire birthday party worth of 12-year-old players by running in, bunkering him, and shooting them all in the face.
That sucks.
That's just being a dick on like
Yeah.
a human level. That's
Right.
not even
Yeah.
like an airsoft thing. That's like
Yeah,
like,
I lost it.
Airsoft was the conduit in which he became into which he was dishing out his dickery.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was like, usually I'm like, all right, Jonathan, don't fall into the troll trap. But
Yeah.
I got in there and I typed angry and just blasted.
Is
It was
that
like,
how you were typing?
It was just, I mean, like, actually it's more fists than fingers. It was,
Your computer's just destroyed.
Like, smashed, keyboard's gone. But, it's like, look, you very well, and most likely, out of that birthday party, let's say there's 8 or 10, I don't know how many people were there. He didn't say how many kids he shot in the face. But
Surprisingly.
like, half of them or more, you may have ruined their one Airsoft experience. So here's a whole batch of brand new players coming into this hobby, into the sport, that would have been in, that could have enjoyed it. Now won't, because their one experience is, this mean guy ran in and blasted me in the face, and then laughed at me and ran off and then posted on the internet about it.
Yeah, I agree. That's anyone that, when it's your first time playing and you have a terrible time, you're not going to come back. And
And that's what kills Airsoft. In fact, that's not what killed paintball, but just the lack of new players coming into something. That's what's going to kill the industry and the sport or hobby, whatever you want to call it, is new people not coming into it. So all those kids that potentially could have been coming into Airsoft and getting guns and helping grow the overall market and the community, no, they're gone.
And let's face it, the more people you want it to grow, because the more people you have in a game, the more fun you're going to have. That's what is going to allow. That's what's going to allow event promoters to put together large-scale games. We can't put together large-scale games with all these cool pyrotechnics and stuff like that, like what Milsim West and American Milsim do. We can't do that if there's like 500 players in the whole of the nation. That's not going to happen.
Or even your local shop. Your local shop can't stay in business if there aren't new players coming in all the time.
Yeah.
So that's like things like that. One person can have a ripple effect on your entire community crumbling, and even your local shop like closing down, or your local field.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So basically, to me, what we need to do is do a better job of policing each other. Make sure your friends aren't being dicks to other people. Like, I don't know how to fix it, because on one level I feel like it's kind of it's not an Airsoft problem, it's just basically a human problem that we're terrible people to each other sometimes. And I don't necessarily know how to fix that other than police each other. Police your friends a little bit better. Don't allow them to be terrible to one another. And that will help keep our sport alive.
Mm-hmm. But it's even worse when a sponsored player, like in the case I experienced, is doing it. That's where you really have to like almost go in and like call them out.
Yeah, and then that's gonna make the company that they're working with look bad. That's going to make every single other sponsored player look bad, because everyone's gonna think, this is what these people do. They're just jerks that shoot people, little kids in the face close up.
Yeah, and sleep on a big pile of YouTube money.
I wish.
Yeah, let me go find it. We're burning it right now.
Yeah.
That's how much money we have. We're just burning it in the fire. No, we don't have any money.
Stay in school, kids. Don't do YouTube.
Pretty much, yeah. So with that wraps up this episode of our controversial topics. Let me know what you'd like to talk about next, or if this is a series you like, leave all your comments. Leave them all there. I'll read them all. I always do. I just don't always reply to them. But I try. So leave your comments. Make sure you are subscribed to Airsoftology Jonathan, Airsoftology, and Jet DesertFox. I'll put the links for everything in the description. See you next time!